Hello and welcome to Zeke's Box Talk. So I'll address the elephant in the room. I have not posted for about 2 years. I was still in school at the time, and once that ended, I am still in my career as a reporter. I know this is a boxing channel, but I do want to make it more of a sports channel. I'll be posting more, so stick around. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Women's college basketball. While it's still the same game as the men's, there are some key differences in the culture and history of the game. With women's coaches, there are less household names. The big two that younger people know about are Dawn Staley from South Carolina and Gino Auriemma from UConn. However, from the 1970s to the early 2010s, there was one coach that stood alone with 8 national championships, 16 SEC titles, and over 1,000 wins. That coach is Pat Summitt.
This basketball team is real special, and today they came in, they carried the game plan out almost to perfection, and I'm happy for them.
Pat Summitt coached the Lady Vols from Tennessee from 1974 to 2012 and never had a losing season. She's not only one of the greatest women's coaches of all time, but one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time. It was natural then that her son, Tyler Summitt, who this story is about, would also have a career in basketball.
That I wanted her to help me, I would have to go to her. It wouldn't be her pushing me. You gotta be self-motivated, and that's another thing she taught me. It's really important.
Tyler was born in 1990 in the midst of his mother's storied career. He was a stellar 6-foot guard at the Webb School in Knoxville and won some academic awards there. He was so close with his mom that Pat actually coached his AAU team at one point.
She was saying she could help us out on so much, and I was like, all right, Mom, let's show me, let's see it. And so she started coaching our AAU team, and it really helped.
Pat was very much invested in Tyler's career, and he did end up walking on at Tennessee with what I imagine was a bit of help from his mom. He was a bench warmer from 2010 to 2012 and played in just 6 games. In a 2010 game versus Middle Tennessee, Summitt would shoot and make his only shot of his college career. A little side note on that shot: put Tennessee over 85 points in the game, which earned all the fans free chicken tenders from Hardee's, so he certainly made an impact. With the conclusion of his time with the Vols, Tyler made the obvious adjustment to coaching women's college basketball. In 2012, Tyler was hired as an assistant coach at Marquette under Terry Mitchell. Summitt was just 21 years old. In his first year as an assistant, Marquette would make the WNIT, and in his second year, the team would make it to the second round of the tournament. In 2013, he would also marry Ann Ragsdale. It was at that point that at 23, Summitt would receive the call of a lifetime, a head coaching position at Louisiana Tech. The timing just made sense as his mom became coach of Tennessee at 22. Summitt would also bring in a plethora of coaching knowledge, as well as a young guard by the name of Brooke Pomeroy, our leading lady.
I am 23, and if that's my biggest weakness, that's great, because inevitably, no matter what I do, that's going to change.
Summitt would be taking over for the popular Teresa Witherspoon, who had been let go after back-to-back losing seasons. Louisiana Tech women's basketball is a pretty storied program. 2 national championships in 1982 and 88. In fact, Pat Summitt was on the losing end of a game against the Lady Techsters in 1989. Tech had been in the NCAA tournament every year from 1981-82 to 2006-07. The last 3 years had been difficult on the team, so Summitt was expected to get things back on track. In his first season, Summitt would rely on 3 seniors: Whitney Frazier, Kelly Shelton, and Christacia Walter. The 3 would turn out to be a stellar trio.
We have the right foundation, and now we got to build on what we have.
In his first game in front of nearly 2,000 people, Summitt's squad trailed by 7 at the half against Stephen F. Austin before dominating the second half to win.
Very proud of us pushing through and having the mental toughness to stay in the game.
Summitt would voice his satisfaction, but admit the team committed too many turnovers. A few games later, with a 500 record, Summitt would take on the 22nd ranked Mississippi State. They would actually lead by 7 at the half. However, they would ultimately lose in heartbreaking fashion, 81-77. The rest of the season was up and down, and despite a couple 3-game win streaks, the team would ultimately finish 16-15. A win in the first round of the Conference USA tournament would be the high point of the season. Going into the next year, the team was overhauled, with the top 3 scorers from the previous season graduating. Now, remember when I mentioned Summitt had brought Pomeroy with him to Tech? Well, she would end up playing a big part in the season. a very big part.
Brooke has easily been our best overall leader, especially from a vocal standpoint.
The team would ultimately be led by senior Brandy Wingate, who would see her numbers rise after averaging 9 points the previous year. Pomeroy, who sat for a year because of transfer rules at the time, would be gifted a lot of minutes by Summitt. A lot of minutes. After losing to Wisconsin in their first game, Tech would win 3 of 4 thanks to strong performances from Wingate, Ashley Santos, and Pomeroy. In a 58-53 win in the Bahamas versus Denver, Wingate went for 22 points on 9 of 11 shooting in 38 minutes. Ashley Santos had 10 points on 4 of 9 shooting in just 25 minutes. Pomeroy had 7 points on a putrid 1 of 9 shooting. She also had 4 turnovers, and despite being a guard, she had no assists. Despite the poor performance, somehow Summitt played her 37 minutes. While I'm guessing no one gave much thought to it at the time among the millions of Louisiana Tech women's basketball fans, it was definitely an interesting line. 3 games after the Denver matchup, Tech would travel to Tucson to take on Arizona. Once again, Wingate went crazy, going for 26 points on an impressive 8 of 12 from the field and 10 of 13 from the line. Pomeroy, on the other hand, had another stinker, 5 points on 2 of 7 from the field and 6 turnovers in 30 minutes. The team would lose by 10. The next game would be a rematch against Mississippi State, but this time it wasn't close. The Lady Techsters were losing by 28 at the half and 46 after 3 before going on to lose 93-63. Wingate once again went crazy with 25 points, and Pomeroy had another 2 of 7 night, this time in just 17 minutes. Heading into conference play, Wingate and Ashley Santos looked to be the 2 best options for the team. However, Summitt would elect to have Pomeroy play a major part. In the first game of conference play, Tech would lose by 10 to Southern Miss. Santos and Wingate would combine for 26 points on 50% shooting. Pomeroy would lead the team with 14 points on 6 of 14 shooting. They would be outscored by 20 in the paint and have just 4 second chance points. Defense down low seemed to be the weak point of the team, as they were consistently getting dominated in the paint. In the second conference game, Summitt benched Wingate, and Pomeroy would lead the starters with 18 points on a strong 5 of 8 shooting. However, Wingate still led the team with 23 points on 9 of 14 shooting, and the team won by 18. After a loss to Charlotte, where Pomeroy shot 4 of 12 and 2 of 8 from 3 in 28 minutes, Tech would get hot with 4 wins in a row, the first of which was a dominant 19-point win against FIU. Summitt was known for using different lineups, and he was asked after the game why guard Tiana Davenport didn't start. This is what he said. "You sit Brooke Pomeroy and she comes back and is killing it against Southern Miss in our past few games. She has been doing well and shot it really well tonight again. You sit Brandy Wingate and she goes to Old Dominion and dominates." That is a total of 32 words about the team's 4th or 5th best player and just 12 about the lead scorer. Once again, some alarm bells had to be going off. Santos and Wingate would continue to shine, and Pomeroy continued to stat pad. A win against North Texas would put the team at 12-9. That game, Wingate continued her ridiculous season with 29 points on 11 of 16 from the field and 7 of 7 from the line. Quick thing, bro, who is this Brandy Wingate person? She was an absolute monster. Go into the game logs for Tech after this video. She was an actual monster on the court, complete menace. Anyway, that game, Pomeroy played the second most minutes, had 12 points on 3 of 9 from the field and 1 of 7 from 3. Another quick side note, Pomeroy shot a lot of threes, more than anyone on the team by a large margin. She shot 6.4 a game, while no one else averaged more than 2. If you took away 2 or 3 of those attempts a game and just gave it to Wingate or Santos, the team would have been crazy. After the North Texas game, the season began to go downhill. They would lose by 11 against Middle Tennessee, then lose by 15 against UAB. The stats in that game tell the whole story, and someone must have seen something was up. Brooke Pomeroy in that game had 8 points on, get ready, 3 of 16 shooting and 2 of 12 from 3 in, and I swear I don't know why Summitt wasn't checked on after this, a team leading 32 minutes. Then, 2 games later, against top of the conference UTEP, Pomeroy did something incredible. In 26 minutes, which was the second most on the team that game, she finished with 0 points on 0 of 6 shooting. 0, nothing. She missed all 4 threes, and the team had no threes that entire game.
I think Brooke is playing better, not necessarily always shooting it better.
The last 2 losses, Pomeroy had 20 and 6 performances in that 6-point performance, and I swear I'm not joking. The Summitt-backed Pomeroy went 2 of 16 from the field and 0 of 11 from 3. 0 of 11 in 37 minutes. Just for context, the team lost by 11. Brandy Wingate had 18 points on 8 of 11 from the field. It just shocks me how no one was like, hey, Brooke Pomeroy is kind of terrible, and they're just letting her do whatever she wants. According to reports, the team looked out of sorts and without much chemistry. The season ended in the first round of the conference tournament, with Pomeroy having actually a solid 24-point performance on 8 of 17 from the field and 4 of 7 from 3. Wingate didn't play in that game. So that was it. The second season was over, and it was a disappointment. The team lost their last 4 games and didn't get a win in the conference tournament. You may be thinking to yourself, well, that sucks, but hey, Tyler Summitt is still a young guy. Everyone has off years. It's only his second season. Brooke Pomeroy is going to stick around, be the leader of the team after Brandy Wingate leaves. If you were thinking that, then boy, oh boy, would you be in for a shock. In April, it was announced that Tyler Summitt would resign as head coach at Louisiana Tech. The reason? An inappropriate relationship with a player. Which player? That's right, Brandy Wingate. Just kidding, it was Brooke Pomeroy. Now, this wasn't a little smooch. Tyler Summitt had actually gotten Pomeroy pregnant. Now, at the time, it wasn't initially clear which player it was. The rumor was that it was either Pomeroy or Ashley Santos, who had also transferred from Marquette. To dispel the rumors she was pregnant, Santos did quite possibly the funniest thing I've ever seen. She posted this tweet to prove she wasn't pregnant or involved with Summitt. The fallout of the situation was insane, and it turned out the entire team and their families and the school's administration knew about the relationship. Now, usually in office romance, the key is to not make it obvious. Obviously, Tyler did not get the message. According to reports, Summitt would, as the kids say, glaze Brooke Pomeroy. I'm talking about whenever Pomeroy would tie her shoes, Summitt would compliment her not, or if she did a 4-foot bounce pass in practice to Wingate, he would lose his mind. Pomeroy averaged the most minutes on the team despite missing a ridiculous amount of shots. Reports also said the team chemistry had been affected by the affair, and the team had been reported as having physical arguments with each other. Summitt said this after resigning: "I am profoundly disappointed in myself for engaging in a relationship that has negatively affected the people I love, respect, and care about the most." So there were also some reports that said the school had a deep knowledge of what was going on, but nothing really ever came of that. Louisiana Tech would hire Brooke really, as their next head coach. This Brooke is still at the helm and is doing pretty well, with just 1 losing season since taking over. In fact, this year the team is 21-5, first in Conference USA, and actually has a serious chance of returning to March Madness for the first time since 2011. They've also won 14 in a row. Summitt would divorce his wife in 2017 and then, of course, marry Brooke Pomeroy. They have 3 kids now, one of them named Rocky because, well, of course. Tyler, according to what I've seen, doesn't have a full-time job, or rather any job, but he is still living pretty good, and that's all thanks to his mom. Because she left her entire estate to him, Tyler will get $173,000 a year. So that's it. That's the story how one of the most promising and lucky coaches in history who was handed a career threw it all away for a shot-chucking guard. The biggest crime in this story, of course, is how Brandy Wingate never got a chance in the WNBA because with her stats, she would have dominated. That's all for the video, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm super excited to get back to YouTube. I'll leave a link to some of my stories at my news station, and I have some big plans for more YouTube videos in the future. Peace.